Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video I want to show how we can make the animation we had from last time loop. It's not that I really need it to loop at this point, but it's just nice to see if it does actually loop, and it's gonna serve the purpose of demonstrating how that can be done. You can do that with a walk cycle, for example, the same way, while your actor is moving across the scene and want to make sure that everything is looping seamlessly. All right, so you need to start off by getting rid of all this stuff here. So I'm gonna shift select all these bars here, because otherwise they are gonna be visible. We don't want that, so I'm gonna give them a name because I want to get them back at some point. Okay, so the wall and the bars has been hidden now, and we have this take we created last time with the character moving up and then moving to the next sequence and up, and that seems to be blending just fine. Okay, I know for a fact that the beginning and the end, this one and this one, does not match in the poses exactly, because I made a little poo-poo somewhere, but doesn't really matter that much. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure that this clip does loop, in fact. So this is just something I'm gonna do for the purpose of this demonstration, so we can see things are looking okay. But I'm gonna do that afterwards, after we have set up the camera, so we can see how to verify things. Okay, so first of all, we want to go into the asset browser, and under elements, we'll drag out a camera like this. And up here we can switch under perspective, we can find the camera, so we can actually just use the normal camera controls to position the camera facing the way we want it to be facing initially. Okay, so once we have that in place, let's switch back to the standard producer view, and let's see if I have done this. No. So what we want to do here is to make sure that the camera is following the route. And we can do that by I'm going to use a parent-child constraint this time, because we did already use a position constraint, but parent-child constraint also makes sure that rotation is following along. But since the route doesn't have any rotation, well, this is actually a bad example, but anyway, if you need something to follow, for example, a prop like a gun or a bat, a knife, or whatever, to be following a hand, then you would use the parent-child control constraint. So, in fact, I'm going to use the position constraint. So I'm going to drag two of these into the scene like that, and I'm going to be able to find them here. And the position constraint here, I want to pick the root of my character here, which is going to be moving. I want to drag that over to be the source. So that's one of them, and this is the other one. Okay, and the constraint object, well, this is one of them. This is the camera interest. This is what it's pointing at. So I'm going to hold X down and drag that in here. And I'm going to take the camera itself, find the other constraint, select that, and X drag that in as the constraint object. And then I'm going to hit snap to both of them. So now they stay in place following the root of the character. Now, I believe I don't have any root motion on the last bit here, so I need to enable that on the expression. So I'm just gonna hit that and make it active. So now it follows all the way up. Okay. So in order to get a view of how things look from this camera, let's switch to it in the perspective camera, and let's make sure we have a loop on and then play that back. It's actually a little bit hard to see with the ground planes being visible here. So what we can do with the camera selected, let's find the camera. Here it is, here, and then we can turn off the grid here. So that should get rid of that. And you may be able to see this, but there's a hiccup in the animation right here. Okay, so if I wanted to make sure that this was looping entirely correctly, I would just find some random place in this animation. Let's say I wanted this to be a walk cycle or something, which I don't, but just assume that. I would just clip it up somewhere in the middle, drag this to the end, make a little overlap so it makes a seamless transition, and then okay, I took the one of that, and then drag this to the beginning. Okay, that means that the end here is, you know, this part is seamless, but this part was having a little hiccup. So when we play this, I might need to frame start and end, so we have the correct number of frames. And there we go. Now it seems to be a guy climbing an imaginary wall, just walking up the wall constantly. And yep, that's how you can play with the camera, and then put a constraint on it to verify if something is looping. Oh yeah, one little bonus information. This something that was interesting for this particular animation, but it might be interesting as well for you. Is I did a little change to my expression constraint of video, and what I found out was that since a lot of these motions, I set the constraint to be the chest, but sometimes the chest is moving a little bit too much to the side, so I didn't want it to be all the way, the camera or the root of the character to be all the way out here, and I didn't want it to be above the head always, because that would also sometimes make it look weird. So what I did was to take the mean value of the X for the chest and the hip effector, actually. Sorry, not the head, the hip effector, and then added these two together and divided by 2. So that means it's gonna take the location on the x-axis from the chest and the hip bone, and then find a location in between these two. It's gonna, I think, give it a bit more balanced location for the root. All right, but I think that's it for this video. I hope that was helpful, and just feel free to comment on my channel, and otherwise see you in the next. Bye bye.